it's probably a good idea to get started from like where Artix was coming from, just so everyone's kind of up to speed. I think that's the one a lot of people kind of know about, but there's a lot of people who probably have no idea about what even like why there is even a problem with GNOME outside of System D.
Right, actually, that's a good place to start. I know, I guess to brief people up, GNOME 49, I mean, you did kind of mention this a while back, but
Mhm.
GNOME 49 basically put I'm going to put it in quotation marks, hard dependency on systemd, but
Mhm.
I consider it more of a soft dependency because essentially the way it worked before is that GNOME session, which is just a program, pretty much handled and started GNOME. It's kind of how KDE works too at the moment. They basically have a little session manager. It starts KWin. It waits for KWin to crash because it's always going to crash. Um, it pretty much just it's like a little watchdog service, and
Mhm.
GNOME also has one of those, but one thing it did recently was it started switching away from basically maintaining, watching, and inspecting the services, and it started switching to systemd for several reasons that I'm
Mhm.
mostly familiar with as to why, because there were
Mhm.
some issues with the old approach.
Mhm.
Um, so the next bit is Artix, and Artix, I'm going to be very brief. I don't care too much about Artix, but I respect what they do. They're pretty much trying to maintain like 300 init systems.
Mhm.
Whether I consider that valuable or not is up to the viewer. But um, basically, they are dropping GNOME and entirely dropping GNOME, all because of the blog post and just everything that's going on.
Mhm.
And this started a little bit of a shitstorm towards the GNOME session developers and stuff, and
Mhm.
all that. And oh yeah, more GNOME hate. Good riddance, I think, was one of the replies on that
Oh,
blog
that was
post.
one of the nicer replies.
I didn't actually send me a link to that real quick.
I
Actually,
can absolutely do that.
yeah, we should have briefed on that, but
Probably, but
there we go. So
you got a due. Nobody will miss you. Less headache on Artix devs. If you discover you're riding a dead horse, dismount. Normal, normal forum stuff you see.
I like this one. I will focus on Hyperland. Anyway, I actually accidentally started talking with an Artix developer because he happened to be in the same IRC channel as me
Mhm.
when I was talking with the Enlightenment developer on it. Um, and he definitely didn't have some pretty things to say.
Mhm. Mhm.
But essentially, they're dropping it because they can't siphon off of someone else's patches.
Mhm.
And they, no hard feelings, but also a little hard feelings. They have more init systems out of the box than say like Gentoo, for example, which we only have systemd and OpenSRC. We have some
Mhm.
other ones too, but those are more experimental. You're on your own kind of situation. But for the
Um.
most part,
Let's see. What does
we support those.
Artix actually have? Sorry, I'm not remembering the full list. So it is OpenRC, Runit, S6, or DNet. Is that all of them? That sounds right. There might be other ones that I'm not aware of.
Yeah, yeah, I believe it's those ones, which is pretty similar to I'm not sure how to pronounce this. Devuin,
Devon, yeah.
but
I think they
and
also have
they
like, I feel like they have another one that I'm just blanking on. Init
I
Freedom.
remember actually they only had like three, but this was a long, long time ago when I actually used that distro once.
Shepherd is what they had that I was forgetting.
Oh, Shepherd, I will actually touch base on that later because the Shepherd developer for GNU Herd has also done some work with this, though it seems a little out of date. But
Mhm.
they did get it running, and they had like a post somewhere showing it off.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, anyway, with Artix, oh, and I'll also touch base on Runit. I have a hatred for Runit, but um, yeah, basically they're gonna drop it. And the first thing when I saw this blog post that irritated me, that is actually just straight up wrong, is that it says here this makes it currently impossible to launch GNOME Shell and Mutter on a non-systemd system. This isn't true. And I know it's not true because for a long time I actually had to run these directly without, because GNOME session didn't work yet.
Mhm.
They don't have to drop these packages, and which is, again, it just kind of irritates me that they're saying, oh, we can't do it anymore, but you can run them directly. They're not the most usable things, but for the most part, the only thing you're losing, which I guess is kind of a big thing you'd lose, is you can't log out, you can't shut down, you can't reboot, and maybe stuff like lock screen. But that doesn't
Mhm.
mean they have to drop the package entirely because it still works.
Mhm.
Um, so as I'm reading here, yeah, they're pretty much just saying that they don't have the time or interest to write a new system V code path. And believe it or not, at some point I will actually try and work with them to make it happen.
Mhm.
Because I know there are lots of Artix users. Yeah,
Before
you gonna say
we
something?
segue off of that, you said you can't shut down. That to a lot of people is going to sound like a really big deal. A bit more context than that. I'm assuming what you're saying is you can't shut down through like the GNOME interface.
Right. So, yeah, pretty much just that.
Mhm.
Because that calls out to GNOME session, which tries to do like a clean shutdown, and if it doesn't detect, can't remember fondly, I think it's the dbus like session. Basically, it'll send like a signal, like signal init
Mhm.
to GNOME shell, I believe, and then that will allow it to shut down and log out.
Right. But you could still shut it
And
down through other means. You're just not going to have a clean shutdown. It's not like.
technically speaking, you can just patch GNOME shell directly and like hijack how it shuts down. Like you
Mhm.
can do that.
Okay.
There's more than 8 ways to skin this horse.
Right.
But basically, join me, brother. Um, I guess now we have to move on from that though, because for the most part, like they're just dropping it. They don't seem interested in picking it up.
Mhm.
A bunch of useless comments. But there was some mention, I think, here about if my web browser will not freeze. Um, yeah, this is actually a very recent reply where someone was mentioning how I put some efforts. The video won't load.
Yes, a person. That
But
yes, a person is talking about it. Yes, you are a person.
more Tim. Yeah, they're yeah, a person. Uh, yeah. So anyway, that was actually a video I uploaded.
Mhm.
So me showing it off, I want to get some attention.
Oh,
Um,
was this one of the ones that you sent me?
yeah, I think it was actually. It's just not loading here for some reason
Mhm.
because
Mhm.
Catbox is really slow. But yeah. So basically, the problem with the reason why I'll probably have to pitch out to help these distros
Mhm.
isn't just because of Artix, but because of Devuan.
Mm.
And these you have these distros that have like 80 init systems or whatever. For some reason, they have the willpower to maintain that. So what they'll probably want is a more streamlined solution where they can just write one init script, and for each init system they support, could be millions, who knows? It
Mhm.
could be 2036. We could be using GNU Herd. You never know. But so I'm probably going to do something like that in the future, but it's not a priority.